This is Secret America.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling, and we have some interesting stuff today, Jay. I mean, there has been so much that has been going on lately that, I mean, we had today, what a lot of people don't know is today there was actually a raid on Maricopa County in Arizona, you know, one of the biggest counties that has the most election fraud, if you will, you know, all the voter ballot things, all these things that have been going on that, you know, people feel like, you know, the governorship was stolen by Katie Hobbs from Kari Lake and a whole bunch of other things, the whole Senate thing. I mean, they had so much things, but now to me, Jay, it seems as though it might even be Maduro is the one that is talking, because if we think about it, former Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, okay, he was captured on January 3rd. All right. What kind of, I think it was a capture that was kind of a scheduled thing, you know, a friendly capture. I think he wanted to be captured. I think he was told, I think they told him, you know, we're going to come get you, because who lets them get arrested with their wife? You know, he was allowed to be arrested with his wife, taken with him. And then I want to show you something after they landed. Take a look at this. This is very interesting right here, Jay. I want you to see this. Take a look at this right here. This is after they landed. I'm going to pull this picture up right here. Look at this. So this is after they landed right here. He's there. He's got his thumbs up. He's got a picture with the DEA. I mean, take a look at that. That is not somebody that looks like they were just captured and, you know, are going to be charged with all these charges and, you know, go to prison for the rest of their lives. That is not what that looks like to me. So the guy was captured, if you will, on January 3rd. Okay. Then we have on January 28th, the raid happened on the Georgia election offices, you know, on January 28th, which is only a few weeks after he was captured. Then today, the FBI seized election records at Maricopa County, Arizona. You know, so Venezuela was the creator of the Smartmatic, a voting machine used by the United States and many other countries in their elections. In 2005, Smartmatic purchased Sequoia voting systems. U.S. officials raised national security concerns, so Smartmatic had to sell Sequoia in 2007. But guess what? 2010, Dominion buys Sequoia voting systems for its voting machine technology, which was once Smartmatic's technology. Then in 2020, Dominion and Smartmatic were used for the presidential election. Nicolas Maduro knows the secrets behind the theft of the 2020 election. He's got to be the one that's talking, because now they're doing these raids, they're seizing these records, and Smartmatic and the technology that Dominion voting system used was in, it was in the Dominion voting systems. They're the ones that used that technology. That was all made in Venezuela. All of that technology was made in Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro was president of Venezuela for the last few years. He knows the secrets, and he's the one that's talking, Jay.
Yeah, he might very well know something about how the system really works, or how to manipulate it, or how it was manipulated. I wouldn't be surprised, Jack, if he is talking, or if he's telling him something to get him and his wife out of maybe some hot water. I mean, listen, Nicolas Maduro is not going to be a free man, no matter what he says.
I think he is going to be. I think he's going to witness protection.
Free?
I think he's going to witness protection. Yes. I think they do not arrest you with your wife if it is a hardcore arrest. They don't say, hey, yeah, bring your wife along with your arrest. That doesn't happen. They don't take pictures with you afterwards with your thumbs up smiling into the freaking camera like, hey, what a great job arresting me, guys. No. This is all behind the scenes shit.
Well, if he's going to get into witness protection like some, mobster,
then
he better be given all the goods like Henry Hill did in Goodfellas. You know what I'm saying?
He's giving him the election, the 2020 Imagine if he has information that can prove it was stolen. Imagine the possibilities. Not only the possibilities, it might give Trump a third term.
Oh, God. And maybe put some people who deserve to be behind bars. I'm here for it. If Nicolas Maduro is talking and has information about Smartmatic, Dominion, all these, whatever, the machines and how they could have been flipped and manipulated and broken into, corrupted, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. I'm here for it. I'd love to see that happen. There's nothing more. You want to talk revenge, Jack? We talk revenge all the time on this show, how we need revenge from all these past years of injustices. This is probably, along with January 6th, you're talking the biggest one These people literally robbed us of an election, or how many elections? Put it that way.
Absolutely. And look at that guy, though. Look at him. Does he look like a guy that's scared he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life?
I want to know what's going on with his hat, Jack. That looks like one of those pink pussy hats that they wear, those lunatics. If that hat was pink,
Over his face.
Like, what?
No. That's the mask they put over his face when he was taken into the helicopter.
But I'm looking at that. I'm like, why does it have those points like those pink pussy hats that they wore? Those lunatics.
No, it doesn't have point. It's just pulled up like this so he can see. That's the only point. Yeah. It's just, as you can see, it's a mask that was pulled up like this so he can see. It's got two flaps right here that they use to pull down and tie it.
All right, fine. I'll give him a break on it then.
Yeah, it's but yeah, no, it is funny, but it's true. It's true. And he's got to be talking. There's no other reason that all of a sudden, right after his arrest, they would be raiding Georgia election offices. They would be raiding Maricopa County, the two places that were highly contested and both so illegal. It might even make Kerry, if this happens. Now, I don't know if they'll retroactively do this or not. But if this happens, they could actually remove Katie Hobbs, insert Kerry Lake as governor.
Yeah, no, listen, again, if people, and also get arrested, because it's not just good enough.
You're hoping for too much, Jay. You're hoping for too much.
Listen, Jack, I could dream, can I not?
No, you can't.
Why not?
Not when it comes to arrests, not in America.
If Nicolas Maduro is going to give sing like a bird and give all the goods, then somebody else better be getting arrested along with Nicolas Maduro while he flies into the sunset to eat egg noodles and ketchup, when he orders spaghetti marinara. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're hoping for too much, Jay. The most we can hope for is a court decision that won't reverse anything, but it'll say, okay, the 2020 election was stolen. We're not going to reverse anything. We can't do anything about it now, but yes, it was stolen. That's the most we can hope for. That's it.
And that, you know what? I guess I'd have to take it to say to all these people that have told me, oh, what are you, crazy? There's no fraud. Nothing was stolen. Oh yeah?
So sweet.
Well, now we know it was. We knew it was, but now we have proof.
Just that decision. I don't care if we don't arrest anybody. I don't care if we don't reverse the elections. But if we get that decision that says it was definitively stolen, so sweet. I mean, I don't even give a damn. I don't give a damn.
It would be. It really would be. It would be something that the media would have to report on, that they would rather be at the dentist getting a root canal with no anesthetic than having to actually report that the 2020 election was stolen. Yes.
See, that's the best part. We get to feed everybody crow, and that's what I want. I want them to eat crow, Jay.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, crow, like crows. I want like the Birds movie from Alfred Hitchcock flying in there, and they can't eat. There's so many of them, they can't eat it. That's what
there you go. That's what I like to hear.
All right. I'm in.
All right. So, tell you what, take a listen to this. I want you to listen to this, Jay. Did you know that the U.S. intercepted encrypted communications today? Not only did the U.S. intercept encrypted what was I just saying? Encrypted communications. Boy, try saying that three times fast.
Say that fast. Yeah, I just said it. I said the same thing as you. Say that fast 3 times.
That is not easy. Encrypted communications. My goodness. Okay. So they intercepted these encrypted communications, and they are believed, get this, to not only have originated from Iran, but they are also believed to have served as an operational trigger for sleeper assets. Why do you think all these bomb threats, all these sudden Molotov cocktails? There was another bomb scare in Los Angeles. Another Muslim had a bomb that they just did in Los Angeles just a couple of hours ago. These were communications sent from Iran to activate these sleeper cells, the cells that embedded themselves in America through Biden's open borders policy, and then are now they're in with America. They are fused with our culture. They're everywhere. They're probably in every state. And if that message gets to these people, that's why you're seeing bombs everywhere all of a sudden. We are going to turn into the UK. I'm talking bombs on subways, bombs in coffee shops, car bombs in front of, whatever building you want. We are going to turn into the UK because of Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, Rhino Republicans, a lot of people have done this.
This is going to be scary, man. We don't know where the bomb's going to show. There's going to be bombs everywhere.
Well, look what just happened in New York, right? With these people, the guy basically running and throwing a bomb, yelling "Allahu Akbar." Really? This
just happened in LA today.
And it's going to get worse. And this is the tip of the iceberg, I think, because these people are here, right? We know that they've been saying for years, even before Joe Biden, that we had sleeper cells all over the place. Then we had Joe Biden, where who the hell even knows how many came over the border? They have no clue.
They estimated at least 1,000. You're talking about 20 million people. At least 1,000 of them are actual trained terrorists.
Well, if they're saying 1,000, Jack, it's probably more like 5,000. So if they're admitting 1,000, it's probably more like 5,000, or maybe there's 10,000 that aren't so highly trained, but will be trained or will be radicalized. We have a real problem. And what happened in New York, it was at a protest against Islam. I don't care what the protest is against. This has nothing to do with Islamophobia. It has nothing to do with white supremacy. And even if even if the protest was all about that, you don't get to throw bombs at people that you don't agree with. But this is what these radicals want to do. I don't have Islamophobia, Jack. You know what I have?
What's that?
I have Islamobomophobia. That's what I have. I don't want bombs in our country being thrown by lunatics because they disagree with somebody or they believe in something that they're going to go to, for 72 virgins. I am done with it. These people need to be thrown the hell out of our country. Period.
You know what's funny?
End of story.
Let me tell you something funny. First of all, I do have Islamophobia. But second of all, you know something funny? Okay, so they actually read it wrong in the book. It does not say 72 virgins. It says a 72-year-old virgin. Oh, so they're actually, after they die, they're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, well, good. I hope they didn't even get a 72-year-old virgin. I hope they just go straight to the pits of hell. Remember the movie Ghost when those things come and they drag you away when you're a bad person?
I can promise you a 72-year-old virgin is the pits of hell. Have you ever seen Yes Man with Jim Carrey? You ever seen Yes Man?
I didn't see Yes Man.
There's a woman in there that's 72 years old, and he has to go up there, and she says, are you on a sexual release? And he has to say yes at this point. So she takes out her teeth, pushes him down on the bed, and your mind can go, can imagine the rest. So yes, I think a 72-year-old virgin is hell.
Okay, well, okay, fine. I won't argue with you there. Or how about the one in The Shining in the bathroom who turns into the old rotting corpse that Jack Nicholson is kissing? That too. How about that whenever those people get sent to the pits of hell? Maybe, by all the Ayatollahs that they're choosing, Jack. I mean, there's a job I just don't want any part of is the Ayatollah. I think your life expectancy is diminished by about 100%.
Oh, yeah. No, they never live to actual life expectancy. They die quickly.
Especially now.
Oh, yeah. Especially now, with us targeting them, which is awesome. It's just great to see. But, everybody should be aware, be aware of your surroundings. There will be sleeper cells. There will be bombs going off in America. So just be aware of your surroundings. If you see somebody that looks suspicious, call it in and walk away. Don't do anything stupid, and definitely don't go anywhere where it looks like it's crowded, okay? Because that's where they would set the bombs off the most. Crowded places or protests. Keep an eye out. Keep your eyes open is all I'm saying.
Jack, did you see the movie Invasion USA? Well, I know we're talking about movies, but
you have a lot of movie references.
No, today. I know. We really do, but the thing is, they're kind of coming all to life. The movie Invasion USA with Chuck Norris, where this cell of terrorists literally comes on shore into our country and starts blowing everything up. Literally just goes around shooting rocket launchers at houses and all this crap. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but these people are here. And now we are involved in a conflict where now they're going to be activated. So like Jack said, have your head on a swivel. Just pay attention to where you are. I'm not saying walk around at gunpoint with your firearm drawn. What I'm saying is when you're out, as you always should be anyway, pay attention to what's going on. Keep your head out of your phone. Don't be looking down at your phone all the time. Have your head out of your phone. Look around. Pay attention. And like you said, if there is something that kind of makes your ears perk up, just make a phone call. If you're wrong, and everybody's fine anyway.
Exactly. It doesn't hurt to make a phone call. You can end up saving lives, including your own. So yeah, definitely when you're out in public, try to avoid crowded areas, avoid protests. And yeah, don't look down at your phone the entire time you're out because you just might end up being the victim of a stabbing in the neck or something. The way things are in America right now, your head, especially if you're white, needs to be on a swivel.
I'm going to get a good tan this summer, Jack.
There you go. See, that's what you need to do. Get you a spray tan, make you look a little darker. Hell, dye your hair, make yourself look like a Muslim. Maybe you'll stay alive. Jay, I want to show everybody this right here. This is what I was talking about when I said something happened earlier today in California. Take a listen.
In Southern California, the feds were moving in to arrest a man on charges of supporting the terror group ISIS when they found what appears to be a homemade bomb in his home in Long Beach. Marianne Rafferty, live in Los Angeles with more on that story. Marianne.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. A shocking discovery as federal investigators were arresting a suspected ISIS operative, a homemade explosive device found inside his Long Beach, California home.
So that right there is a man where they found an explosive device in his home, and that was something he was going to deploy had he not been arrested, because he was supporting the terror group ISIS. That's why they were going there in the first place, and then they found bombs in his place in Long Beach. So I'm telling you, he might have been part of the sleeper cells. I'm telling you, everybody, there will be explosions, there will be bombs. So just be prepared. Be prepared.
That looked like a real nice house from the helicopter view. How did he get that house?
The bombers from New York have a $2.5 million home in New York. His parents, with a guy, they have both live in some rich place in New York with $2.5 million homes. These Muslims and the ones from New York that did the bombing, that tried to throw those bombs, their family just became citizens from Afghanistan. Okay, and somehow they already have a $2.5 million home. I don't know what's going on.
If we've said this before, but it needs to be reiterated. If you don't assimilate to our country and you have no intention of doing so, that's an immediate red flag. Immediate, and you should just be removed. Okay, removed. Now, somebody, I think Hope said it. Americans are being indoctrinated by Islam, by these ISIS, by these crazies. There are some.
You have to already be weak and small-minded to be able to.
There are plenty of those, Jack. There's plenty of those.
A religion that has nothing to do with your race. I mean, when they look at you, they don't see one of their people. They see someone that's expendable, a suicide bomber.
Of course, you're a useful idiot, just like the guy who had the bomb thrown over his shoulder. Did you catch his ex-post, Jack? The guy who had the bomb thrown over his shoulder.
I don't even know who
Oh my God! This guy goes on and he was one of the counter protesters to Jake Lang, whatever Jake Lang was doing. He was one of the counter protesters.
Oh yeah.
Literally, the guy throws the bomb over his shoulder, and he comes out on X like, "I still don't have a problem. They don't need to. We're stereotyping."
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God, dude!
Mamdani called Jake Lang the white supremacist, even though the bomb was thrown at them.
I don't care if he's a white supremacist, that you don't get bombs thrown at you because of your beliefs in this country. This is third world country crap, but you can't bring everything from there here without here becoming there. So now we have people who don't like what somebody else is saying, and they're throwing bombs at them. Mamdani also referred to, it was a white supremacy rally. It doesn't matter what kind of a rally it was. It's unacceptable regardless of what. Jack, how many times do we have to listen to people say death to America at a quote unquote peaceful protest? We have to hear it. How many times did I have to even work protest, Jack, where I had BLM calling for my death, saying, pigs, wrap them in, fry them like bacon, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I had to hear this stuff, but that didn't mean I got to kill people because they're saying something I don't like. That's the whole thing about the First Amendment, right? You say certain things at a protest, you can. But Mamdani's like putting this framing, and the media is helping him by saying, it was a white supremacy rally. It was anti. So what? It doesn't matter. That shouldn't even be
making it out to be like it's okay because of it was a white supremacy rally.
Exactly. Like this guy, we kind of get it because no, we don't kind of get it. And they were also kind of making it like, it was against Mamdani. These guys it was near the mayor's house.
They're trying to pretend like it was him that was the target. Yeah.
Oh my God. They just when you think the media hits a new low, they keep digging and they don't want to put the shovel down. It is
no, you don't hate the media enough, Jay. You can't hate the media enough.
You can't. Every time you think you hate them as much as you can, they do something else the next day to make you be like, I guess I hate them more now. It's incredible.
Absolutely. I want to go back real quick and talk about the election fraud that we were just talking about. Trump actually did a press conference where it was a press briefing where he was speaking about this, and I want you to listen to what he says. Okay, I want to see if you guys pick up on this. Okay, listen to what he says right here.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Kara Castanova from Lindell TV, and you spoke earlier about the 2020 election. Now that Maduro is in U.S. custody and he was criminally charged, has any more information emerged that you could share with us regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the 2020 election? And would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did that. Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? They've learned some things from Maduro. That tells you right there, straight from the horse's mouth, he is talking. And that's why they're getting the information they're getting, raiding the places they're raiding. And I think something big is going to come out of this. And that's why they captured him. I think he wanted to be captured. I don't think it was a capture. I think it was a rescue. I think they rescued him from Venezuela. That's why they didn't kill anybody. That's why nobody was killed there. All they did was they did that discombobulator, you know, the machine that did the Havana syndrome. They didn't kill anybody.
No, I think we did kill some people, Jack. I do. I think
from
we
what
did.
I remember, they just all they did from what I remember is they used that thing and it what do you call it? They kind of not discombobulated, but it kind of disabled everybody. Thank you. I couldn't think of the freaking word. I don't know if we killed people or not. But from what I remember, I don't remember any deaths. All I remember is they used that machine to disable everybody. If they killed a few people, they whatever. But what the main thing to take away from this, though, is the fact that I think this was a rescue more than a capture. And I think it was a thing where quid pro quo, you rescue me from here, and I will give you information on the 2020 elections. I will give you information about Smartmatic's technology, how the election was stolen, how they were able to do these tabulations, how Dominion used Smartmatic's technology to do such a thing. And I think that's why they're raiding these places. I think that's why the next time you see Maduro, he might have charges, but he's not going to spend the rest of it. He might even get a sentence. But I can promise you, after he is sentenced, you'll never see him again.
Could very well be. Could very well be. It makes sense. That whole, your logic train makes sense. It's on a track. It's not going off a track. It's not something that it's not something I'm like, it makes sense that, and I definitely do think he is talking. Absolutely. I think he's talking.
The timeline just makes sense, man. I mean, there's just no other way.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're speculating on, but I think for sure that he very well might be talking. No doubt.
Absolutely. It's definitely the case. So I'm gonna switch topics here because there's something big that came down the pipeline, Jay. There was a declassified CIA document. You know how we talk about MK Ultra? We had Annika Lucas, we had J.R. Sweet. There is a declassified CIA document about MK Ultra that openly discusses drugging entire populations. Okay, it talks about substances being placed in food, water, Coca-Cola, alcohol, cigarettes, even vaccinations, like we talked about, to slowly induce anxiety, hopelessness, tension, and depression over time. It's not fiction. This is real government paperwork. I'm going to put it up here for everybody to see. Take a look at this, Jay. All right, I want everybody to see this. This is real. I'm going to read this right here. It says, this second type of drug should be one that could be administered over a considerable period of time, possibly being placed in food or water, or would either have an agitating effect, producing anxiety, nervousness, tension, etc., or a depressing effect, creating a feeling of despondency, hopelessness, lethargy. This study should include chemicals or drugs that can effectively be concealed in common items, such as food, water, Coca-Cola, beer, liquor, cigarettes, etc. This type of drug should also be capable of being used in standard medical treatments, such as vaccinations and shots. It says it is believed that specific research should be undertaken to develop new chemicals. Listen to this. Develop new chemicals or drugs to improve known elements for use in Project Artichoke. Project Artichoke, which we all know was part of MK Ultra. It was the part of MK Ultra. As while there are literally hundreds of chemicals or drugs that affect the mental processes of an individual, many of these chemicals or drugs could be eliminated by individuals having special knowledge in the chemical and drug field. So basically what they're talking about is they want to drug people. They wanted to drug people, and it doesn't say when it was released, but this was, obviously back in the 50s and 60s. They wanted to drug people, whole populations, with different types of drugs to see how they react to it, see what is the best way for them to be able to manipulate people. That's the whole part of MK Ultra. That's the whole thing. It's mind control. So if they can put drugs in Coca-Cola, cigarettes, alcohol, whatever, and they can see that people are more susceptible to suggestions if they're under a certain drug, that is exactly what they were doing. So if you see things going on in the 50s and 60s where whole populations, maybe they didn't seem right. Maybe they were more susceptible to shit than they should have been. Maybe they were easily gullible, more easily convinced to do shit. Maybe it's because they were drugged, Jay.
Very well. Very well might be. What could you just go over what Project Artichoke specifically was for people who might not know? Jack,
yeah, sure. I'm sorry. So MK Ultra is the overall operation, obviously, and Project Artichoke was basically what it was. Is the ultimate goal of Project Artichoke was to find certain chemicals or whatever else they could find to make it the easiest way for them to make people susceptible to suggestion. Meaning, the best way to control somebody without them knowing it, without them having any type of will of their own. You want to be able to use this drug, this hypnosis, this whatever, which is why they were doing this study on whole populations to see what works best. And what it is they use this project, make sure they drug these people, find the best chemicals they can to make people basically mindless slaves. You use these drugs, you put them under hypnosis, you do whatever you can to make sure that they are susceptible to whatever you tell them. They will do whatever you tell them, and then eventually you can get it to where not only will they kill people like Sirhan did, but they will have no memory of what they've done. It's basically a way to turn people into sleeper assassins. That is the ultimate goal of Project Artichoke.
It's kind of like, and another movie reference. Here we go. So everybody can relate to this. The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun. When he hits the thing on his watch and it says, "I must kill the queen. I must kill the queen." Has no clue he's doing it, right? And then
I've never seen it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, that's kind of what it is. It's kind of boom, a thing is on, and he hits the button, and then all of a sudden a switch goes off, and the assassin, whoever they want it to be, says, "I must carry this out," and without thinking about it, just goes and does it. And for anybody who will tell you that these things didn't exist, well, now we have like the paperwork out there that shows you, yes, these things existed. These programs existed. So when people tell you that's all made up, it's fake, it never well, why then do we have the documentation that's out that tells you these things were there? That tells you this is what they were trying to do to people.
Did you ever research Operation Northwoods that I sent you? Did you ever look at that? Because I'm going to show Okay,
go ahead.
I'm going to show everybody what this is. First, let me tell you a little bit about Project Artichoke. It was a project that was developed by the CIA they say it's for the purposes of researching methods of interrogation. That's not what it was. That was just a little side benefit. The primary goal was to determine whether a person could be involuntarily made to perform an act of attempted assassination. It's exactly, literally, what I just said it was. I'm going to share this for you, for everybody to see. It is literally exactly what I said it was. If you can see this right here, okay, I'm going to highlight this portion right here, and it says right there, the primary goal of Project Artichoke was to determine whether a person could be involuntarily made to perform an act of attempted assassination. That is exactly what I said it was, because that's what it was. Their goal was to make you see if they could have sleeper assassins that would involuntarily kill people without their own knowledge and then forget all about it. They would not remember it afterwards. And they worked. They succeeded. See Sirhan. They succeeded in finding the correct method that they wanted. That man killed Robert Kennedy Jr., and he had no memory of it afterwards, no idea he even did it. And, and you could tell that he was part of that project because the journal that they found, all it did was write his name over and over and over and over 1,000 times, which makes no sense whatsoever. But he tells you that he remembers little things like them saying, Robert Kennedy Jr. must die. Robert Kennedy Jr. must die. And he writes that in his journal over and over and over and over. And that tells you bits and pieces. You take bits and pieces and you can see the whole picture. Okay, Sirhan was part of Project Artichoke. In fact, it was Project Artichoke's biggest success.
What after Sirhan carried that out, what happened to Sirhan?
He went to prison for the rest of his life. He got the death penalty in California, but then California got rid of the death penalty, so it was commuted to life in prison. He's still alive. He's in prison.
Is he really still alive?
He's alive. Yep.
Now, did anybody ever interview him? Do we have
Yep.
interviews of
They've
Sirhan
interviewed
for
him. Now, what he tries to do now, though, is he tries to say, "Yeah, I did it," but he has he has no memory of actually doing it, and he doesn't know why he did it. He's trying to come to terms with it and say, "Yeah, I did it because of whatever," but he has no reason, no idea why he actually did it. He has no. You could see some of the interviews. I mean, he has been interviewed before. Yes.
It makes you wonder about certain other people. Son of Sam. It makes you wonder about people like that.
It's
Son
very
of Sam,
possible. It's very possible.
Right? We're not saying he was part of that, but I mean, the behavior is kind of just like, I'm talking to dogs and I'm going to go kill, people with, I think it was brown hair in New York City.
My biggest thing is Jack Ruby. That's the person
I was going to bring that up. I swear
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up to you with Jack Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm like, would Jack Ruby be a candidate for this to just go and just boom in the middle?
He did
of
it right in
crowd,
front of everybody. Nobody does that, right? You're going to go to prison for the rest of your life.
or get killed?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to mention Jack Ruby. I swear to God, I was thinking of Jack Ruby. I was like, wow, Jack Ruby just went into that crowd of cops, escorting Lee Harvey Oswald out of the jail, and he just walks right in. I mean, boom, and just kills him. I mean, who else would do that? It's like a robot.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's definitely, he is definitely one of those candidates. He's one that I think of the most, honestly, because that thing was so bold. And, well, not just him, because Sirhan did the same thing. Shot Robert F. Kennedy right in front of everybody. And people don't do that without being under some kind of mind control. People don't do that in front of everybody. You just don't. You don't want to go to prison for the rest of your life. You don't want to have you don't want to be killed, so people just don't do that. So anyways, I'm going to show you, Jay, for everybody out there that thinks false flags are fake, think that they don't happen. And let me tell you the difference. A hoax is something where the government says something happened, but it never did. A false flag is where something did happen, but the government tells you a different narrative than what actually happened. Okay? That's the difference. A hoax didn't happen. A false flag happened, but not for the reason they say it did. And I'm going to prove to you right now that false flags do exist. And they've existed for at least the last 60 some odd years. So take a look at this. I am going to bring up, and I encourage everybody to research this yourself. I am going to bring up Operation Northwoods, Jay, and I want you to pay particular attention to this because this is something I sent you. It's very interesting. I think you'll like it a lot. Okay, so this is Operation Northwoods, okay? And Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation which originated within the Department of Defense of the U.S. government in 1962. Take a listen to this. The proposals called for Central Intelligence Agency operatives to both stage and commit acts of terrorism against the U.S. military and civilian targets, blame them on the Cuban government, and use them to justify a war against Cuba. And if you think I'm lying, if you think Wikipedia is lying, CIA did declassify the document. This is the declassified document right here. And I want you to take a listen. This is part of it, okay? Right here it says, memorandum for the Secretary of Defense, justification for U.S. military intervention in Cuba. The Joint Chiefs of Staff had considered the attacked memorandum for the chief operations, yada, 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 yada. It says description of pretext, which would provide justification for the U.S. military intervention in Cuba. Okay, it says let me see if I can find. Okay, that's not what that's the beginning part. But where's the actual document? Why do they not have the actual document on this? Do you think they would have, where it shows the actual, because there's an actual document that was also declassified that shows exactly what the false flag is, what they actually proposed. For some reason, it's not on here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can find that because that is unbelievable. Because right there, it tells you that the Joint Chiefs of Staff had a memorandum that they sent to Department of Defense, CIA, and John F. Kennedy Jr. saying that here are the ways we can justify a war with Cuba because they wanted to take out Fidel Castro. The CIA had a hard-on for Fidel Castro. You know how many times they tried to assassinate him? I think it's like over 400 some odd different times. They even put poison or explosives, in one of his cigars. They did everything they could to kill that man, and they never killed him. He was very bright man. But let me see if I can find this, Jay. Go ahead. I want you to talk about this because this is real. What I just read to you is 100% real. That they actually did this to try to get people You know, they were going to kill Americans, Jay. They were going to kill Americans.
You know what scares me? What scares me about this stuff is that, yeah, the CIA, it's kind of like we hear the CIA's doing it. We're kind of like, all right, the CIA's doing it. We shouldn't really be surprised about the CIA. I wonder about these other agencies that become like mini CIA operations with like USAID. Mike talks about that, how USAID had people that would kind of go in and they were doing this bidding and this dirty work at that point, kind of like the CIA would do. And who knows how many other agencies in the United States and our government have people interspersed within them that are now kind of taking this role. So it's not so easy just to go CIA focused. It's everywhere. I don't know. I think about that, and it's kind of frightening, to be honest with you. CIA, we kind of notice what they do. They try to get us involved in things, and for purposes, for political purposes or financial purposes. Who knows why?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So yeah, check this out. I'm going to show you this. Okay. It's not the whole document. For some reason, I can't find the other half of the document. But anyways, check this out right here. I want you to see this, Jay. Okay. So let me see if I can just pull it up so everybody can see it right here. Okay. So apparently, and I'm going to tell you what some of the possibilities were that they put in the document. Okay. I'm just going to read this whole thing to you real quick. I can read fast. So just listen, guys. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation, which originated within the Department of Defense of the U.S. government in 1962. The proposals called for the CIA operatives to both stage and commit acts of terrorism against U.S. military and civilian targets, blame them on the Cuban government, and use them to justify a war against Cuba. The possibilities detailed in the document included the remote control of civilian aircraft, which would be secretly repainted as U.S. Air Force planes, a fabricated shoot-down of U.S. Air Force fighter aircraft off the coast of Cuba, the possible assassination of Cuban immigrants, sinking boats of Cuban refugees on the high seas. Listen to this. Exploding a U.S. ship and orchestrating terrorism in U.S. cities. The proposals were rejected by U.S. President John F. Kennedy, and I think that is what got him killed. If you want the God's honest truth, forget everything else. This got him killed. The CIA, the Department of the Defense, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted war with Cuba. They were willing to kill cities full of Americans to do that.
Soldiers, military.
They were willing to kill U.S. military soldiers and cities full of American civilians. So when he said no, that was it for him. They killed him because of this. That's my personal opinion.
Did they think that the Cuban Missile Crisis would have been it? And then when that didn't happen, when he kind of negotiated.
That's exactly what it was. When he resolved that, that's the thing right there. When that was resolved, that was strike one. Okay? Yeah. When he said no to this proposal, that was strike 2 and 3. That was it. They wanted war with Cuba, and they were going to get it, whatever they had to do. But then after he died, the whole Vietnam thing exploded, so they forgot about Cuba.
Well, now it's funny. It's interesting. Well, not funny, but interesting, right? With Cuba right now. President Trump, I think, mentioned today that I think Cuba's on its last leg or something. We had our show the other day. We had the thumbnail with Marco Rubio being president of Cuba because the president even said, I'm going to send Marco there. So Cuba has been something that our government has wanted to take control over decades and decades and decades. And it looks like we're right on the cusp of maybe actually doing it just for other reasons, but it really is. But why wouldn't, listen, strategically, Cuba is an absolute gem. I mean, and of course you don't want any enemy utilizing Cuba. It's right here. It's right off the coast of Florida, for God's sakes. So
that's why I wanted to show everybody that, though, because that just proves, forget Cuba for a second. This proves that false flags occur, that they're real. This is an actual CIA document proposing false flags for killing American citizens and actually committing acts of terrorism against Americans in U.S. cities to justify a war against Cuba. That's what they were going to do. And Franklin Roosevelt did the same thing. He knew about Pearl Harbor ahead of time, and he allowed Pearl Harbor to be bombed because that is what allowed public support for the World War II. He wanted to enter World War II. They had no public support. None. Nobody wanted to enter another war. They did not want to enter another war. So what happens? He hears about Pearl Harbor. He lets it go. Pearl Harbor bombs. Then he's like, we got public support for the war. That is what happened.
Listen, Jack, if that could ever be completely proven completely proven that FDR knew that Pearl Harbor was going to happen, I mean, of course,
there are communications to that effect. Yes,
but right. I listen, but
actual
I mean,
paper communication.
My God, that's kind of the same kind of thought process about 9/11. Is that somebody knew? We're not saying George W. Bush knew. We're not saying that on this show.
According to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein knows secrets. According to Jeffrey Epstein, George Bush knew.
We could speculate on that, but is that in the realm of possibility? No. I'm just not one of people that thinks 9/11 was this whole fake. No, I think somebody knew 9/11 was coming. There's no freaking way that our country didn't know that these guys were all over the country taking flying lessons and not learning how to land. I'm sorry.
We had a military stand down. We just happened to have a military stand down at that time.
There's no freaking way in my mind. And 9/11 is something that's very close to me for a lot of reasons. But it drives me crazy because people know somebody freaking knew that 9/11 was coming and they did nothing about it. That was way too freaking easy to do. Way too easy. How is there no? I'm not even going to get into it right now.
No. I understand. Believe me. And I can tell you right now, and I'm not going to say for a fact, but my personal opinion is yes, George Bush knew about it. Of course he knew about it. He definitely knew about it. And it helped him more than it helped anybody else. And it helped him and it helped Dick Cheney because guess what? They got to go to war. And guess what? George Bush owned the oil fields, okay? And then guess what? Dick Cheney owned the defense company, okay? And they both got to get their shit from Iraq. They raided Iraq for something that happened from Afghanistan. It makes no goddamn sense. No.
Yeah, the whole thing with Iraq was with his father. I want to finish my father's job. Well, no.
It's bullshit.
It really, the whole narrative was so out of whack because we knew Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan. Why are we going to Iraq?
God bless America.
Why are we going to Iraq? I mean,
I hate Colin Powell.
These people, Dick Cheney is now gone. And I hope they're in the pits of hell. I really do.
He's in hell. Yes,
I really do.
God.
Because you imagine if that's true, the pits of freaking hell that you would do this to America, to American citizens. This country, the world has never been the same since 9/11. Our freedoms have been stripped with the Patriot Act and everything else. While meanwhile, Jack, we still have people in this country throwing bombs in New York City.
Oh yeah. But imagine if JFK. Imagine if he had said yes. There would be terror acts all over the U.S. in the 60s if he had said, yes, let's do this to justify a war with Cuba. You know what? FDR probably did say yes. George Bush probably did say yes. And that's why we got these things. If you think JFK was the only president this was proposed to, no way. Because I can tell you right now, George Bush learned from JFK. He learned that if you say no, this is what the fuck happens to you.
Listen. It's hard to say no that this is out of your mind and crazy stuff. It's just it's logic.
It's the world
and
we
if
live
the
in.
Logic train flows, it flows. And like when it comes to like this, they were going to kill American citizens. They were going to kill soldiers. This stuff was proposed. Of course, if something like 9/11 happens, everybody's going to be behind going to war. The thirst for blood that we had after 9/11 to go and destroy whoever did that to us was palpable. And it should have been, but that is sick. It is sick to think that it's possible that our government knew that something like that was going to happen. And then they would have full fervor of the country behind them. And you know how many people signed up to go into the military after 9/11, Jack? I mean, heroes.
Well, that's why they did that. That is why they did that.
Every single one of these people that signed up to go into our military after 9/11 are absolutely stone cold freaking heroes that they knew that once they signed up, they were going to war. They weren't going to have some nice cushy job at some base somewhere, whether in the United States or someplace in Europe. They knew they were going to war and they still signed up. And the fact that our government could have had something to do with allowing that to happen for their purposes is just sickening to think about. But it's something we can never forget about. It's something we never forget. And it also ties into our president that we have right now, who does everything he can to keep us out of this stuff. And right now we're in something. And I'm going to take him in his word that he's going to get us the hell out as soon as he can. Until he doesn't, I'm taking him at his word. Because every time so far, he's done what he said.
But you got to learn from the past, though, man. You got to learn from the past. 2 weeks to stop the curve or whatever. You got to learn from the past. You have to learn from the past.
I'm going to trust him until I can't trust him. I have to give him that. I voted for the man 3 times.
Oh, I still support him. I still support him. I just don't believe him when he says 4 or 5 weeks. I don't believe that. I support him.
Today he came out, Jack, and said the war is pretty much complete. And
why is it a war? Shouldn't it just be an operation? Why is it a war now?
Well, whatever he said, the conflict, I don't know if he said war. He might have said war, but he said it's pretty much complete. And I looked it up, and basically all the reporting from various sources, not just the United States, not just from Israel, from various independent sources too, is that Iran's launch capabilities with their ballistic missiles is like down to like 20% at most. The Navy is basically gone. Their Air Force is basically gone.
I just want to get out of there, man. I mean, we don't need American soldiers dying for them. I'm sorry. It's over. Their regime has been killed. Let them have their country and do whatever the fuck they want with it.
Well, listen, I want, we have our interest there. We don't want that psychopath country to have nuclear weapons.
Fucking something.
It always is, Mac. Unfortunately, it always is.
Never.
Well, unfortunately, it always is. There's a United States is never going to have is never going to have a place in the world that we don't have a specific interest in. It's just never going to happen. That ended in World War I. So, I mean, it is what it is. I want us to hell out too. I want us to destroy these people. I want us out, and then I want them to decide on what they're going to do with their country. And I want here's the end thing. I don't want to ever hear after this. I don't want to hear after this about a nuclear program in Iran. I want this to be decimated to the point where
I thought we decimated it before this bullshit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear it again after this. I
better not hear it again either. I'll go ballistic if I hear this shit again.
I agree with that. And I think most of the people that support President Trump would agree with that too. We don't want to hear about it again after this. It better be taken care of, and it better never be heard of again. And somebody better be able to come into that country and take power and lead it into some kind of sane direction. That's all I'm asking for. And I don't want to build their democracy. I don't want to rebuild their country. I want somebody to come in that's not completely clinically insane to come over and lead the country where they just don't want to kill Americans and say debt to America for 50 years. This has to end, and it has to end now.
Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you got that out of your system.
Thank you.
We only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to do a quick little rapid fire where we just talk about things for a couple of minutes because there's a lot to talk about, okay?
Go ahead.
All right, so check this out. Let me just take this off of here. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to talk about real quick is that now soon Cadbury is actually, I don't know if you like the Cadbury eggs and all that, but they are actually replacing their chocolate with lab-grown chocolate now. Chocolate is now being grown in a lab, and soon you will not be eating chocolate that comes from dairy. You will not be, it will be lab-grown chocolate. Soon enough, every bit of food that you eat will be grown in a lab. You will not be eating vegetables. You will not be eating meat. You will not be eating snacks. You will not be drinking soda. Hell, they'll probably grow water in a freaking lab soon enough.
No,
I'm not doing it, Jay.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I won't eat it. I'm not giving them my money if they're going to do this.
No, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But I want everybody to see it so they know what the hell's going on. This is lab-grown chocolate. Take a look at this.
Grown chocolate is coming to shelves in 2027. Oreo, Cadbury, and Toblerone are already funding the Israeli biotech producing it because a lab is cheaper than a farm.
Cadbury has been quietly replacing your chocolate every single year. This dairy milk isn't legal chocolate in 27 countries. The cocoa butter was replaced with vegetable fat, a cheap...
You hear that? Cocoa butter, which is what makes the chocolatey flavor, has been replaced with vegetable fat or whatever the hell they said. This is lab-grown chocolate that is going to Oreo, Cadbury, and I'm telling you, Jay, lab-grown meat, lab-grown chocolate, lab-grown chicken is just the beginning. It is just the beginning. In 5 years, everything you consume will be grown in a lab. And you won't have a choice. You will not have a choice. You won't say, hey, I'm going to go over to this place and get these cage-free eggs. No, it will be grown in a lab because it's 1,000 times cheaper to grow the shit in a lab. Everything you eat in 5 years will be grown from a lab.
5 years?
5 years. They've already got meat. They've already got chicken. Now they got chocolate. 5 years. That's what the 2030 agenda was about. 2030, 4 years. 4 years. Forget 5, 4 years.
Grow your own food.
That's the only thing you can do. But in fact, what will they do? They might actually make it illegal to where you have to have a license to grow your own food. And they won't give out the licenses because they want you eating lab-grown shit.
I'm not eating these lab-grown Cadbury eggs, Jack. I'm not doing it. I'm telling you
now. But when they make everything lab-grown to where you either eat lab-grown shit or you die, I mean,
somebody's got to put a stop to this.
They have to. Did you see? Oh my God. There is a video going around where they made a lab-grown chicken. A lab-grown chicken leg. The leg is moving. It was moving like this. That's the God's honest.
You have that video? You have that video?
Not readily available.
Oh.
But I can send it to you. It is an actual lab-grown chicken leg that is moving, shaking like this, like it's alive. It was insane.
Oh, please. I'm gonna vomit.
It's sickening. And yeah, so that's your future, guys. Lab-grown food. All right, let's move on because we've only got a few minutes left. There is some very interesting stuff, actually. Did you know that Maureen Comey, the daughter of the disgraced FBI director James Comey, is the one that ordered New Mexico officials to shut down the investigation into Epstein's Zorro Ranch in 2019?
Shocker.
She was the one that shut down that investigation. Not only that, Jay, she's the one who tried Ghislaine Maxwell. She is front and center in this Epstein investigation.
Yeah, again, she was the one that didn't they fire her from the Southern District of New York recently?
I don't think they have yet.
Or they got rid of her. They moved her or something.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think they did. They moved
sure?
her.
I'm going to look that up because I was hoping they would, and I never saw anything about it, but maybe they did.
I think they did because what was she involved in? It was the whole thing with the Epstein files, I think, or some of the stuff going on.
No, she shut down the investigation into the New Mexico ranch, Epstein's ranch, and then she's the one that tried P. Diddy. She's the one that tried Ghislaine Maxwell.
That was it. It was P. Diddy. When I heard it was Comey's daughter that tried P. Like, no wonder why I got nothing. No wonder the fix was in. I mean, Jesus Christ, the Comeys, these families, the Clintons.
Yeah, she is no longer. You're right. She was dismissed. Did you know that she was no, she was dismissed from. You're right. She was dismissed last year from the U.S. Southern District Attorney's Office, which is great because that woman is she's a sick puppy.
She's a Comey. Say no more.
Yeah, she's a sick puppy. All right, we got a few minutes left. Let me see what else we got because there's so much interesting stuff.
I had something today from local with a real quick. A school teacher from around where I am, Jack, had said last year that she hopes like all Trump supporters, a school teacher, like small kid, like elementary or whatever. That she said that she hopes small kids or Trump supporters die a slow death. Okay, she was put on leave, unpaid leave. But an arbitrator today decided that no, she can't be fired from her job. This is what we're dealing with in places like New York, where you have a school teacher saying on social media, she put a Facebook post that all Trump supporters should die a slow death. Meanwhile, an arbitrator says she's able to keep her job. This is what we're up against.
That's where that is exactly what we're up against. But did you see what happened out in California? Apparently, and I want you to hear this. This is incredible. Okay, so you know how Gavin Newsom has been robbing people blind with all the shit that he does? Well, his wife, Jennifer Newsom, is also robbing people blind. Get this. IRS documents from recent years show Gavin Newsom's wife has been paying herself and her company, Girls Club LLC, a third of her nonprofit's entire income. That means she's pocketed over $3.7 million. Okay, she runs a charity called the Representation Project that fights against intersectional gender stereotypes and
what is that?
Gender norms.
I don't even know what that is.
Grants. She gets grants from the government. Her husband is the head of the freaking government. She gets grants from the government, and then those grants go to her charity. She takes a third of those grants and pays herself and her people all this money. Basically, it's money laundering. He is taking money. He's giving her grants to her charity, taxpayer money. She's taking that money, paying herself and her company a third of that money, which is, so far, $3.7 million. So they are, again, money laundering and stealing money.
And I guess it's all legal. It's legal money laundering.
It is legal. It is legal. But it all depends on, it's legal, but, I guess it depends on whether or not they want to look into those contracts because, that's a huge conflict of interest. Her husband, being, real quick, before we got a couple minutes left, I want to talk about something huge, okay? The World Health Organization has just released a statement that labels birth control pills as a group 1 carcinogen, apparently. a group 1 carcinogen, which means that it's proven to cause cancer, but doesn't quantify a risk. You know what I mean? Which is unbelievable. So basically what it's saying is
That's an oxymoron.
Birth control pills cause cancer. That's what the WHO just said.
But it doesn't cause a risk. Isn't that an oxymoron?
No, it says it doesn't. You can't quantify the risk. Like you can't say 50% or 60% chance. You know.
Oh, so
but they're saying it causes. It's a group 1 carcinogen now, same as cigarettes.
What's an acceptable risk? What percentage is an acceptable risk?
No idea. But a lot of women that are taking this pill do not know that it is the same as smoking a cigarette.
Maybe worse. Maybe worse. Who knows? Because we can't quantify it.
Very possible. That's scary because you know how many people. I mean, what else? What are young kids, young girls, teenagers, older adults? What are they going to take if not a birth control pill? What are they going to take? One of those youth things that you shove in your vagina? I'm so glad I'm not a woman. I got to tell you, I am glad I am not a woman.
Well, there are like 14 methods of birth control for women. I think obviously the pill's probably the most.
It's weird that you know that, I must say.
Well, no, I know it because, there's other reasons why I know that. I won't get into my manosphere kind of, background here right now, Jack. It's not the right place or time. But what I'll say is that I think the pill is probably the most popular one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably by far, too. So that's not very good.
Yeah, people need to switch to something else. Real quick, so apparently not even pop stars are safe anymore because a woman fired several shots into the Beverly Hills home of Rihanna while she was inside the home. This happened earlier today. A woman fired several shots trying to kill Rihanna while she was in her home in Beverly Hills. So nobody's safe anymore, Jay. Nobody.
Was it a white supremacist, Jack?
I have no idea. It doesn't show who it was, but I would almost guarantee that it was a white supremacist. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. It always is. It's either a white supremacist or somebody with Islamophobia, because why not? Let's just say that. Because everything that happens is because of that.
Yeah, I got one more huge thing before we go. I want everybody to see this. And I want to show you what you're looking at. First, I'm going to show you the picture, and then I'm going to tell you what you're looking at. All right? Take a look at this, Jay. All right, so I'm going to tell you exactly what you're looking at. All right, this right here is a graph that shows, let me pull this down real quick. This right here is a graph that shows when Elon closed the deal on Twitter. Young adults that identify as LGBTQ, the year is at the bottom, and the amount of the percentage of people is on the side. You see, so you got the year at the bottom. Let me pull it back up. You got the year at the bottom right here. It starts at 2014, goes to 2025. And then you see the percentage of kids that identify as LGBTQ, right? Well, look at the corner right there when it starts to go down. You see that? Yeah. You see the point where it starts to go down? That is when Elon bought Twitter. When Elon bought Twitter, the percentage of young adults that identify as LGBTQ dropped by 18%. It dropped drastically. Why? Because there was a lot less propaganda making these people think they were LGBTQ. LGBTQ is a social contagion. It is not a real thing. Transgender is a mental illness and a social contagion, and this proves it. The points right there are when Elon Musk bought Twitter. And look at the percentage, how it dropped drastically because there was no more LGBTQ propaganda on Twitter, which was the most used app in the world. That tells you right there, Jay, that it is all about propaganda. Elon Musk buying Twitter probably saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of young people that might have committed suicide because they thought they were going crazy, might have cut off their dicks, cut off their tits, whatever. He saved them just by buying Twitter, just like Trump saved us just by getting elected.
Now he's just got to buy Facebook and TikTok and everything else and Instagram, and it'll go down to about 0%
His
people.
His friend owns TikTok now, though, so that may help. That may help.
We'll see. Well, Jack, we gotta get out of here. You want to throw up our social media before we go?
Oh, yeah. Let's pull that up. Okay, so right here, guys, make sure to follow us. Secret America TV. Okay, you can follow us on X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, TikTok, everything. Our name is Secret America TV on every single social media channel. Secret America TV. Our show is Monday through Friday. It says right there, watch live every weekday. Our show is Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to tune in. You know, it's a lot of fun, just like this one, Jay. And right now, you know, I think we did a lot here. You know, we solved all the problems we can for one day, you know. So I think it's time to go, man. For Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger. Thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.